Hi everybody, Joe Conroy, Certified Financial Planner. I am in front of the Circuit Court of Harford County to explain 4 of the more popular scam techniques that people who are committing these frauds against investors and seniors, what their strategies are and what we can do as investors to try to avoid them. Quick story, I heard through the grapevine, somebody that I don't work directly with was taking for an extremely large, life-changing sum of money. And these are very articulate, very smart people who are deep into retirement. And the problem is when the market drops, like every time in the past, it recovers. But once that fraud happens, that money's gone and you don't get it back. So let's go through 4 of the top methods that they're trying to use and what we can do to prevent that. So the first scam I'm gonna go over is the tech support scam. So you get a phone call, a pop-up message on your computer, an email, something saying that your computer has a virus or information's been compromised. And in order to unlock your information and free you from this scary situation, you have to provide something, information, something in order to hopefully rectify the situation. Don't do it. I know that as soon as these things come up, it creates this sense of urgency and you just want to get rid of it. You want your information to be secure. Don't click these links, don't give anyone access to your computer because they don't probably have anything, and once you allow them and you open that door, they're gonna burst through and they're gonna take everything, all right? So maybe find somebody that you trust, a friend, a neighbor, somebody that knows technology, contact them and see what your next step should be. Do not respond to any of those attempts. Scam number 2, IRS Government Imposter Scam. What happens is you end up getting a phone call, it's somebody from the IRS, and they say you owe all of these back taxes, and if you hang up, the police are going to come arrest you. And we start to have these visions of being walked out of our house, K-9 cops are barking everywhere, a helicopter circling, the media comes out. It's very scary, right? We can kind of go to some dark places in our head. But keep in mind, the IRS is never going to call you. They send letters, and if you have any questions, you call the IRS directly from their official website. But these scammers are very good, and these scams work, otherwise they wouldn't keep doing them, right? So when they call you, they create this urgency, they say you can't get off the phone. One of my clients this actually happened to, I got the second phone call when she hung up. They called her, and she actually hadn't paid or filed taxes for a couple of years, so they just happened to hit the right person at the right time. She got halfway to Rite Aid to buy prepaid Visa cards that she was going to send and money orders before she kind of came to her senses and said something doesn't sound right. So these are very commonplace, and we're talking about a medical professional with a very, very sharp cookie. Anybody can fall victim to them, and that's why we're doing these videos, to raise some awareness, so hopefully you're not the next victim. All right, and that's number 2, the IRS government imposter fraud. Scam number 3 is phishing. Not rod and reel phishing, but phishing for your personal information so they can take your hard-earned dollars from you and they're never giving them back, all right? There's risks in the market where it goes down, but it eventually recovers, at least if the past is any indication of what's to expect going forward. When these phishing scammers get your money, it goes into a black hole never to be seen from again. There is no recovery attempt. So it is so important to try to prevent any level of this fraud with your personal finances. Quick side note, I heard a horrible story, friend of a friend type situation, but these people retired, they lost everything, because it was an elaborate scheme involving a phishing attempt with somebody from their supposed bank and a store that they were online shopping and the FBI. The story goes it was somebody that they were trying to prevent future frauds from happening, so work with us, coordinate, and we'll help catch these people so they don't take anybody else's money, when they were in fact the people taking their money. Awful, heartbreaking. My stomach was in knots when I heard that the success that these scammers had. Do not give anybody your personal information. Online retailers will not ask you for this information. Always double check, call the official website number, but never give anybody information that just pops up out of nowhere. You got to stop and think about it, all right? Phishing's one of the scariest ones. They're the most successful. Be very, very aware. Scam number 4, it's the emergency scam, also known as the grandparent scam. So, little Timmy, little Susie, you get a phone call from the authorities. Maybe it's a prison system in Mexico or you name it, and they've gotten themselves in some trouble and they're locked up and they need bail money to get out, and they gave your phone number in order to get access to funds so that they can get out of jail and go reunite with their family, right? The only problem is, when you're getting this phone call, little Timmy's probably sitting in the cafeteria of his college cafe, and he actually isn't in a prison. It's an elaborate scam to separate you from your money. So what happens if you get one of these phone calls? We'll call whoever it is, the parents, the child, talk to them before you decide to do anything. 99 times out of 100, it's an elaborate scam that you want to avoid. I saw this one personally with a financial advisor from an office I used to work. So even those who are financially savvy can still potentially fall victim to these types of scams. Speaking of financial advisors potentially falling victim to some of these scamming attempts, just this morning, and the motivation for this video, I got an email from Geek Squad that my annual maintenance membership was renewing for $400. The only problem is I never signed up for an annual maintenance subscription, let alone a $400 a year thing. But there are a lot of red flags, which I'll explain. And if you think that you are getting some of these scamming attempts, whether it's the IRS or phishing or any of the other ones that are out there, you want to stop and think. Now, they try to motivate you to move quickly. They don't want you to think, right? Because once you start going through and analyzing this from an objective point of view, you realize it's a scam. So they try to make you motivate quickly. I noticed that the sender of the email is marlonbushi7754@gmail.com. I don't think that's a corporate email account for Geek Squad. So that was tell number one. I Googled Geek Squad phone number. Of course, the second hit was Geek Squad maintenance scam, so there's another red flag. And the phone number for Geek Squad was different than the ones the scammers wanted me to call so they could try to separate me from my money. So look for red flags, stop, think about it, do a little homework, don't give anyone your information. And if you have any questions about whether or not something's a fraud attempt, ask a financial advisor or a trusted individual. And as always, thank you for watching.